Hi, this is James A. Full Capital, and I got Richard Robson here with Marcus and Millichap to jump into a new deal. Richard, thank you for joining, and maybe give people a little bit of a background on you and sort of what you're seeing in today's market nowadays.
Thank you, James. I really appreciate the opportunity you're giving me here. My name is Richard Robson. I work for Marcus and Millichap. I've been with the company now for about 5 years. I'm partners with Tommy Lovell. We specialize in apartments. We do a lot of deals in the Metroplex, kind of B and C class deals. Quite a few in Arlington and the mid cities, but also probably 60-70% of our business is in secondary markets. So we've got a number of deals in secondary markets right now, and we'll have more coming out soon. So that's kind of secondary and tertiary cities around Texas and surrounding states. So in the market right now, obviously the debt markets are in a little bit of a flux as we're speaking. Rates are rising a little bit, but we have not yet seen that translate into reduced interest in multifamily. There's still quite a strong amount of interest. We're getting the same number of tours, the same number of offers, the same number of CAs as we were before. So we haven't really seen that translate into any kind of reduction in interest as of yet. So there's still quite a bit of strong interest. I think a lot of people believe that there's a housing crisis here in DFW and in Texas and in the United States, and that creates an opportunity, kind of regardless of wherever rates are right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's still another 100,000 people moving to DFW this year, probably. It seems like the number of people keep coming in, and this deal sits sort of right in the middle of DFW. So maybe jump into the location of this deal and sort of the background and story, because it seems like bridge lenders lend on a story, and so I think this one has a good one.
Yeah, okay. So Woodland West is located in Arlington, Texas, which for those of you that don't know, it's kind of right between Dallas and Fort Worth, really kind of the center of the Metroplex. Arlington has been, if not the strongest, one of the strongest, kind of class B and C apartment markets in DFW. Most of the properties in the last 7-8 years have traded. A lot of them have had value add done to them, a lot of renovation of units. So rents have been growing very strongly in Arlington. It's typically, in the top 2, 3, 4, 5 submarkets for rent growth every single year. It's just a really, really strong market in submarket in a very strong market, which is DFW.
All right, so let's flip over to the map here. So we got Woodland West right here off of sort of Park Row and Bowen, and then it sort of sits. I mean, it's got some nice retail, real close, grocery store, Starbucks, CVS, all that type of stuff, just within walking distance, really. And then really only one comp or competitor here across the street, and then mostly single family surrounding it. You got an elementary school right there around the corner. So yeah, good overall little pocket there in terms of location. So let's jump into maybe sort of the exterior, and maybe talk a little bit about the seller and how they've managed this property so far.
Okay, it's 187 units. There's 14 buildings, 2 types of units. There's on the exterior of the property, they're all townhome units. You can see that in the bottom left picture. And then the remainder of the property are 2-story kind of stairway flats. This owner's owned this property for a very long time. He bought it in 1991. He had previously owned 4 other properties, which we've sold for him. So he's retiring and he's getting out of the business, and this is his last one that he's selling. The property is very well maintained. He has a great maintenance staff on site. They even have their own glass cutting. They do a very good job of maintaining the property. What they don't really do is kind of renovate the property. There's no renovated units whatsoever. They're all kind of classic units. They do have some plank flooring in it, but if you look at the kitchens, there's no granite countertops. There's no, updated kind of interiors on it. They're a little plain, but the rents are The rents on this are well below market. Again, he's had a lot of tenants that have been there for a very long time. He's owned it for a very long time. He's not super aggressive in pushing rents. I think every year he raises rents by $25 in a market where rents have been going up 50, 75, $100 a year. He's well behind. His average rent in place is right now is about $817. That works out to about 92 cents a square foot. His asking rents right now are closer to $1.10 a square foot. But the market around there is closer to $1.25 a square foot, just for kind of existing similar late 60s, early 70s vintage flat roof properties without washer and dryer connections. We're seeing rents at $1.20, $1.23, $1.25. So there's a lot of room, even without doing a renovation, to raise rents just organically on the property. But this is an excellent candidate for doing a renovation. Most of the other properties in the area have seen renovation and have premium units, and this one it's 100% classic units. Again, it's a long-term owner, and he self-manages it. So a little bit more professional management, a more aggressive owner coming in with a renovation strategy. There's a lot of money to be made on this property.
All right, so 1968, but it has individual water heaters and individual HVAC.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
And then, yeah.
The utilities, the tenants pay the electric, and that's kind of pretty much it. So the property pays water. They don't have a RUBS system in place for water. They don't bill back for trash. They don't bill back for pest control. So again, just on the utilities, on the other income, there's room for growth there.
Okay. All right. So just $800 in place right now, potentially getting up to about 1,100 on your pro forma rents. And then if you really come in, and we'll talk through, I think let's flip over to this case study. So this was a deal that they owned previous. And then you sold it a couple years ago to another group, and they came in and really upgraded the exterior and interiors, and talk about the difference in rents that they're getting from 2019 to 2000, I guess, today.
Yeah, so we sold this deal back in late 2019. It was the same owner, so same management in place. It was a very similar property to this one, almost the exact same unit count as well. Very similar size units. The back half of this had flat roofs, just like this one did. Had one pool, did not have washer and dryer connections. So really similar. This one's right next to the Cowboy Stadium or the AT&T Stadium right off Randall Mill. Like I said, we sold this in late 2019. At the time, the in-place rents were about $740 a unit, or maybe around 85 cents. And the new ownership came in, immediately raised rents, immediately spent quite a bit of money to renovate the units and the exterior. You can see some of that in the pictures. And if you're curious, you could go look it up on the internet and look up Stadium 700. They've got a lot of great pictures to show kind of what the after looks like. And now they are asking $1,440 a unit on average, and they're actually getting it. So they've literally doubled the rents in just about 2 years with a pretty dramatic renovation schedule. So this is kind of the game plan, I think, for Woodland West. Whoever buys it should, obviously take a look at this case study, and we feel like here's the roadmap for going forward. If you want to really do the value add on this property, here's your prime example.
So so this pro forma rent, how much further do you think you can take once let's say you come in, put 10, 15,000 a door into these interiors? Where do you think you think it's gonna be somewhere in between, probably $1,200-$1,300 on the upgraded? Okay.
Yeah, my renovated rents, which are not in this package, that the pro forma rents do not include a renovation. Those are just organically raising it, but we think you could add another $200 to $250 on top of that. So we think you could get $1,250, maybe even $1,300 average rents for a renovated property.
Okay. All right. So that property is a little bit further than the subject. So maybe talk about some of the comparables in the sort of, let's say, 1 to 3 mile radius of this property.
Sure. So the comparables in the package are all kind of similar vintage properties. And basically what we're seeing is an average rent on a per square foot basis of about $1.20, $1.25, give or take. So that's kind of again what you could expect before any kind of a renovation. They're all very similar as far as occupancy, high 90s. They're seeing a lot more aggressive rent growth than the subject property. Again, that's just the management in place has not been aggressive with the rent growth. So again, you're looking at, what is that, 30 cents, maybe even 35 cents difference in rents between this property and what the comp set has. Our property, Woodland West, has remained 100% full for a number of years with a waiting list, and that's probably because the rents are so far below market.
Right. Okay. All right. So anything else? Obviously, you're going to bring the rents up with that renovation. I guess maybe is the bill back because of the water, or what else?
Yeah.
Do you
So
think?
currently, the only utility bill back is electric. We feel like a new owner could come in and do a rub system on water, add a little bit for trash and for pest control. Other income, there's other areas you could potentially start charging for parking. You could even add some covered parking, which is always a great amenity to add here in DFW with our hailstorms. So we feel like there's quite a bit of room to grow your other income, not just the rental income.
Okay, so the pro forma just assumes you bring in people to market, but then the renovation pro forma getting up to about 1.5, and NOI is you coming in doing the interior upgrade similar to the other one.
Yeah,
And really
so
pushing the
for
rents.
exterior upgrades, I mean, it's a tannish brick. Probably someone will come in and paint the brick. Do something to pretty up the mansard roofs. Maybe, like I said, add some covered parking. The interior upgrades, we think $8,000 to $10,000 a door on interior upgrades. Kind of new appliance package with stainless steel, maybe even granite countertops, new poles, lighting, the usual things that you see on these properties when they do renovations, just to kind of get it up to where kind of really everyone else in the market's already up there. So
Okay. All right. And then what are you guys whispering on this deal in
we're
terms of
whispering
price?
$23 million on the deal. Our call for offers is April 20th, and we're doing tours this week, next week, and all the way right up until the call for offers. So give me a call and I'll be happy to set up a tour.
All right. So yeah, I mean, for this size deal, I mean, Fannie and Freddie are probably not going to be in the mix just because of leverage. But most of the people acquisitions right now are really working well. Sort of non-recourse bridge. This one is going to sit, right about 16, 17 million. And then the rates we're seeing right now, you're really SOFR plus at least 375 on most of these deals, maybe 4% on your spread over SOFR. But the leverage is still there, and for deals that have a story, and I think this has a great story in terms of coming in, upgrading the units. You can point to case studies, you can point to other comps on this deal. So in terms of bridge lending, I think it's still very strong for this type of deal. So you talked about call for offers. You said April 20th is the call for
Yeah,
offers on
April
this
20th.
deal. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So definitely get out there toward the deal with Richard or his partner Tommy. If you, I guess, in wrapping up, any sort of final comments on this deal, Richard?
No, this is maybe one of the better, if not the best, kind of value add deals you're going to see this year. Every other deal we sold for him, the buyers have done a renovation strategy and a value add strategy, and they've been very happy with the results. So it's not just Stadium 700. We sold two last year, and they're in the process of doing this as well. So again, it's kind of the perfect little value add story, and should be an easy one to sell to your investors or your lenders.
All right. I appreciate you coming on, Richard. We'll have people reach out and get out on tour with you.
All right. Thank you for giving me the time, James.
All right. Thanks, Richard.